It's RetroTech 120p challenge time again. If you've not seen this before, basically you can have as many practice goes as you like, but as soon as you press record, that is your recorded run. You submit it to the Facebook group, and your entry then gives you the chance to pick the game for the following week. It goes on a big spinny wheel, and then who knows, maybe your luck will come in. And we're playing Mermaid today, which features approximately 0 mermaids that I've seen. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's a mermaid at the end as a reward. We'll get to that in a bit. So the Mermaid is apparently the name of the little sailing boat here, in what must be one of the very few sailing arcade games, if not the only one. If you can think of any other ones, let me know. I played a water ski one before, but I've not played a sailing one. And if you're wondering why there's a road under the water, I think that's supposed to represent some sort of undersea current that's coming up, because the music changes, you go a bit quicker. But yeah, the idea is it's a bit of a reverse tubing, or a reverse horoscope skiing, where you go up the screen instead of down, and you have to go through what are those little flaggy things called? It'll come to me in about an hour. Slalom flags, I don't know, probably. Basically you have to avoid stuff and go through them, and that's the whole purpose of the game. But it's got other stuff as well. It's a Douglas Titchmarsh choice. He took part last week, probably in a game he didn't really favour that much, in Tekken 3. It's a crusty one. It's from 1982. It was made by Rockola Manufacturing Corporation, who I believe specialised in other sort of pub and arcade related entertainment, and then sort of tried their hand a couple of arcade games. I think they mainly did jukeboxes, hence Rockola. But it didn't come out, I don't think, on anything. Again, tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, quite a cool game. Very chilled out to play, despite the fact that the sea is on fire here, which as anyone could tell you, is probably a bad time for everyone involved. I'm guessing there's been all these shipwrecks have spilled their fuel all over the sea, and have basically ruined all the local sea life. There's probably a seagull somewhere sitting on the dock of a bay crying while covered in black, the black oil, the black liquefied remains of a pterodon or some such. But yeah, so I quite like this game. It is chilled out. I can't tell. I do play it quite far, but I can't tell if I finished it or not. It just sort of abruptly ends, because you get to the goal on the 3rd level and it just sort of finishes and says game over. It might be because I didn't do well enough to qualify. It lets you continue. So it will be a run where you see whoever gets furthest wins, or whoever gets the highest score at the end when they've all finished, I guess, unless it does go on to like a 4th course. There's 3 courses that I played. There might be someone who gets quite far. The toughest bit of the game is probably the those little white things, rather than being sort of dive bombing seagulls. I think are gusts of wind, and they can push you into all kinds of peril, and I'd say they're probably the toughest part of the game. They become more apparent a bit later on. But obviously in the slalom cases, the points that are sort of far away are the hardest ones to hit. So, I'm sort of beating around the bush, because, I mean, there's not a lot to the game more than what you can see. So I think we should probably get to the genital facts right about now. And of course, I'm doing genital facts about mermaids, even though I can't do genital facts about mermaids, because mermaids aren't real. Sorry, little girls who really like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. You will never grow up to be her. Ever. But you didn't want to anyway, because, like, if you're, like, kind of in the British Sea, you're going to get a mouthful of turd at the moment, thanks to the politicians voting for all the sewage to be dumped around there. So, you win some, you lose some. But yeah, Pat, there's quite a few articles I found online about mermaid sex, which was is quite surprising. There's a lot of people with a lot of time on their hands, doing videos about really old retro games and then talking about sexual intercourse over the top of them, because that's perfectly normal and doesn't mean I haven't got too much time on my hands, honest. But yeah, there is plenty. So how would you go about having sex with a mermaid? Well, you could wait until they're in human form, as per your Disney Little Mermaid or the Hans Christian Andersen version of the Mermaid, because obviously then they'd have human genitals. Now, I don't recommend trying to sleep with Ariel from the Little Mermaid, because Ariel from the Little Mermaid is not of age and you'll end up on a list. So, in fact, if you've ever gone, oh, that Disney princess, she's a bit alright, chances are you're being a bit of an ephebophile there, friend. However, if they're not fully human in their form, you're going to have to try and work around it, aren't you? So if they're permanently half fish, you'll have to become a fan of either oral sex, or you'll have to use the mammary glands as some sort of escape, or indeed the lady's hands. This is the weirdest one I've done yet, I think, in many respects. It's probably exposing a lot about myself. I've done that before, haven't I? In the trains. I'm not allowed to go back on the train for a little bit because of that. It's not true. Or is it? So yeah, but if you actually wanted to have children with a mermaid and it was sort of half fish, you'd have to sort of basically sidle up to it in the water. And I lost my first credit there, look. And sort of spread your seed around the eggs. So you wouldn't really be sort of reproducing in the traditional sense we know, but you'd sort of be ejaculating into the water next to your lady wife. And also you'd be living underwater. It's sort of turning me off the idea of getting with a mermaid, I'll be honest. I know, I don't like the sea anyway. I can't swim. And so it don't matter how attractive she is, I'm not living under the water. Anyway. But, of course, as we know, if they've got boobies, then they're probably mammalian, because only mammals can produce milk. So perhaps it's not a fish thing at all. Perhaps it's more of a like a dolphin, because a dolphin is, of course, a mammal. But if you wanted to reproduce with a dolphin, and you know what, that's up to you. They're quite frenetic when they make love. They sort of swim really quickly, sort of while sort of stuck to each other. So if you're sort of some sort of thrill seeker, and you've got scuba gear, and you've got an appropriate mermaid you want to sleep with, it's probably going to be like that. You're going to probably be going at high speeds and reproducing with a sort of a half dolphin lady. So there's that. So basically what I'm saying is, go outside, touch grass. I think I'll have to do it after doing this, because I've tried to do sex facts about mermaids, and now I don't feel quite right mentally about it. So yeah, go out, or alternatively, if you have to have sex with a mermaid, do that one in Red Dwarf, that's sort of half fish on top. That's probably your best route. But may God have mercy on your soul, because that's a weird kink. But yeah. So what's coming up this week? Oh, well, Napoleon Dynamite, the video I've done. It was a DS and PSP version that came out, so we're going to be covering that this week. And then the next week, I've got Gargoyles lined up. So Gargoyles, there was a Mega Drive game based on it. It's a Disney cartoon from the mid-90s. There was like a game that was a bit like Aladdin on there. So we've got that coming up, and then there's a bit more later on. I think after that, I'm working on a video at the moment to do with Zoids. There was a Zoids game on the Spectrum, Commodore 64, MSX and Amstrad. So I'm doing a video on that. I've got no idea what I'm doing, much like everything in life. As you can see now, I'm sort of going through the frost. I think that's a polar bear. I'm not sure. And I think those red things, are they seals? I don't know what they are. I don't like them. They remind me a bit of the ghosts out of Ghost, You know, the ones that drag the fella to hell. They make me uncomfortable. And maybe that's what they are. They're determined. Or it's a red wave. You know what a red wave means? It means... yeah, once a month, eh, boys? I like the way the fact the polar bears are sort of these sort of sad blue things that are sort of the same shape and colour as the icebergs they're on. But as you can see, I'm sailing around the Antarctic at the moment, trying my best. And this is where the game ends. So I didn't actually crash the final time. It doesn't really tell you what happens. I've reached the goal. Good luck to your next trial. And then the game sort of finishes. So I don't know whether there's a fourth level or not. And I think most people will be finishing this game. But yeah, that was 1982's Mermaid. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you've enjoyed the sex facts. But thanks for joining me at this time. Have a look at some of the other videos, and we'll see you next week. Like, subscribe, and well, okay, thanks, bye. Blub, blub. Fishy fish.